Well, hello, Cambly learners. It's me again, Cambly tutor Yuri. And today I'll be going over what you should do to prepare for interviews you may have in English. This might be preparing for an interview for your master's at an English-speaking university, or this might be an interview for a position in an international company where English is used amongst the staff and the colleagues. Whichever it is, today we cover a few tips you should consider before scheduling your interview. Tip number 1. Practice with Cambly tutors. Well, this is an obvious one, because the more you practice in real-life examples of what an interview might be like, the better prepared you will be. So, I suggest role play. What is role play, I hear you ask? Well, this is where 2 or more people act out roles to explore a particular scenario. So in our case, you work with a tutor on Cambly. The tutor pretends to be the interviewer and you be yourself. And both of you act out an interview scenario. Now, because you have no idea what your interviewer will be like, I always suggest that you try to connect with different tutors to give you a sense of the different personality types. So connect with as many different tutors and ask them to role play an interview scenario with you. Tip number 2. Practice the top 10 most asked questions in advance. That's right. Prepare in advance by going over some of the questions they may ask you in the interview. And think about your best possible answer to these questions. Now, if you're not sure what questions they might ask, not to worry, because Cambly have a couple of awesome interview preparation lessons, which include many of the types of questions you might get asked. So when you connect to a tutor on Cambly, simply ask them for the lesson entitled Workshop Practicing Job Interviews. And then you and your tutor can go over these lessons together, practicing and preparing you for some of the questions you may get. Tip number 3. Research the company. If you want to look good for your interview, besides focusing on how you actually physically look, you will look great as a candidate if you know something about the company or the university that you might be applying to. It shows that you are really, really interested and that you are serious about this opportunity. So research as much about the company or the university as you can. Go over their official website. Check what their mission and their vision is. When you can align your answers with the mission or the vision of the company, this will look very good for you and will show how very interested you are and how committed you are as well. It also might be a great way for creating a connection between you and your interviewer. If you share something interesting about their company or have a question about what you researched, this could spark some interesting discussion between you and the interviewer, which will certainly make them consider you a great deal more seriously. Tip number 4. Don't be afraid to take your time answering a question. Don't feel rushed to answer a question. Take your time. Of course, don't take too long because that might look strange, but consider your answer. And if you need some time to think in response to the question, well then acknowledge that to your interviewer. Maybe you could say something similar to, that's a good question. Let me think on it for a moment. And really do. This shows that you really care about what you want to say in response to the question. And that's important. You know, it's important that you provide them with your best possible response. So take the time to consider what you want to say. Now, of course, try not to do this with every question, but really only the questions that you really do want some time to think on. And speak calmly, clearly, without trying to rush your responses. A patient and a considered interview is a sign of a patient and a considered employee. And your final tip, tip number 5. Consider preparing a few questions of your own for your interviewer. Prepare about 2 to 3 questions that you can ask the interviewer. Questions about the position or questions about the company. Doing this will show that you are truly interested in the position and this will leave the interviewer with a good impression of you. Some examples of the type of questions you could ask may include the following. How soon do you expect to make a decision? Or, do you have a training and a development program? Whatever questions you come up with, consider working with your tutors on Cambly to come up with some other possible interview questions you can think of in preparation for your interview. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Cambly, Cambly gives you instant access to friendly native speakers like me. And you can take English lessons anytime, anywhere, right from your phone or computer. So schedule your next lesson with me or any of our amazing tutors just by using the link in the description down below. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.